Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohammad Shahjahan, Senior Assistant Teacher in Chakaria Central High School, Chakaria, Cox's Bazar. My dear students, how are you? I think you are not so well as you are out of classrooms for a long time. For your betterment to engage all of our students in learning process, our Honorable Headmaster, School Authority have taken a decisions for taking online class as a declaration by the Educational Ministry of Bangladesh. So I am going to take a class from you. This is my first online class, so a little mistakes may be arising. If that's so, please take it easy. In my next class, I will try my best and must be careful. Today, I have decided to discuss something new and special which will be very helpful for my students. I have decided to discuss about changing sentence. Now, my dear students, take your exercise khata and pen and write down changing sentence. Dear learners, you must remember most of the students have to face a lot of problems at the time of changing sentences, especially simple, complex, and compound. Why they have to face some problems? I think most of the students don't understand what is simple, what is complex, and what is compound. For lacking of identifying this sentence, so that can't change from simple to complex and compound. In my today's class, I will try my best to identify how the students will identify simple, complex, and compound, and how they will change from one sentence to another. Okay, now my dear students, for your better understanding, for identifying simple sentence, complex and compound sentence, you must remember there are some symbolic words for every sentences which will help you to know what is simple, what is complex, and what is compound. At the time of changing sentence, you will use this symbolic word. Suppose I want to show how will you understand what's the name of the sentence by seeing symbolic word. Look at the board. In simple sentence, simple, simple, without plus ing verb. My dear learners, whenever the sentence will be a start without plus ing, or if without plus ing verb will be existed in sentence, you will know it is simple sentence. This is the symbolic word for identifying simple sentence. That means if you see without plus ing in a sentence, ing verb in a sentence, then you will know it is simple sentence. If you want to change this simple sentence to complex sentence, then complex. Complex. For changing this sentence from simple to complex, first you will have to use, if you don't. If you don't. Now, my dear learners, when if will be existed in a sentence, then you will know it is complex sentence. Now, I want to show my students how they will change after seeing the symbolic word from simple, complex and compound. Whenever the sentence will be started without plus ing, if you want to change this simple sentence into complex, then first you will have to use if you don't. If you don't, then which word will help you to understand what is simple sentence? Then you will have to omit for changing sentence simple to complex. Suppose without plus ing, verb is a part of simple sentence. If you want to change this sentence into complex, first you will have to use if you don't. Then you will have to omit without plus ing from verb. Ing from verb. Then the other part of the sentence will have to be used for making a complex sentence. Now I want to discuss how will you change the sentences from simple to compound for making a compound sentence. For making a compound sentence, you will have to use or for this particular rule. For this particular rule. Suppose you will have to use or. And how will you use or? When the sentence will be started without plus ing verb. If you want to change this simple to complex compound, then we will have to use at the beginning without plus ing from the verb will have to be omitted, and the rest part of the sentence will have to be used. Then or will have to be used. And finally, second clause will have to be used for making compound sentence. Now, I want to give an example for my students to understand this rule. Please look at the board. Look at the board. Without reading more, you can't pass. I have given example for my students. Look at the board. Without reading more, you can pass. These sentences will be started without plus ing verb. Now it is simple sentence. If you want to change this simple sentence to complex, then you will have to use at first if you do not. If you do not, then I have already said that which word will help you to identify what's the name of sentence. At the time of changing sentence, you will have to omit this symbolic word. Example, without plus ing is helping you to identify it is simple sentence. If you want to change this simple sentence to complex, first you will have to use if you don't, then the word without an ing from verb will have to be omitted. Now, if we without plus ing from verb omits from the sentence, then the sentence will be, if you don't read more, you can't pass. You can't pass in the exam, but you can't pass in the exam, etc. Now, the sentences, changing sentences is, without reading more, you can't pass. It is simple sentence. At the time of, if you want to change the sentences from simple to complex, the complex will be, if you don't read more, you can pass. Now, finally, I want to show you how will you change from simple to compound. You must remember the symbolic word from a sentence which determine what is simple sentence, what is complex, and what is compound. For changing this sentence, symbolic word will have to be omitted. Now, this example, without plus, without reading more, you can pass in the exam. If we want to make this compound sentence from this simple sentence, first we will have to omit it without plus ing. Without plus ing, then the sentence will be, read more. I have already said that without plus ing, whenever the sentences, simple sentences will be started without plus ing, if we want to change this simple sentence to compound, we will have to use or. And now I want to show you how will you use or. Now, read more, at the beginning of two clause, at the middle of the two clause, you will have to use or. Then the other clause will be used without changing. Now, look at the board, and I have given one example for you, and I have showed you how will you change the simple sentence to complex and compound. Now, look at the sentence, without reading more, you can pass. For this simple sentence, I have made, for making changing sentence, I have made, if you don't read more, you can pass. And finally, compound sentence, read more or you can pass. This is the primary rule of changing simple, complex, compound for a particular rules without plus ing verb. Now, dear learners, for your better understanding, I want to explain this rule in Bangla. If you are not able to understand any words from my, so I want to explain this rule in Bangla. My dear students, তোমরা সব সময় মনে রাখবে, আমরা যদি সিম্পল, কমপ্লেক্স এবং কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্স পরিবর্তন করতে চাই, এই সিম্পল, কমপ্লেক্স, কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সের প্রত্যেকটাতে চেনার জন্য কতগুলো সিম্বলিক ওয়ার্ড আছে, ওই সিম্বলিক ওয়ার্ডগুলো পরিবর্তন করে আমরা আমাদের চেঞ্জিং সেন্টেন্স করব। যেমন আমি এখানে একটা উদাহরণ দিয়েছি, এক্সারসাইজ দিয়েছিলাম, উইদাউট রিডিং মোর ইউ ক্যান পাস, ইউ ক্যান পাস। এখানে চেনার উপায় ছিল উইদাউট প্লাস বারবের শেষে আইএনজি। যখনই কোনো উইদাউট প্লাস আইএনজি কোনো সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে থাকবে বা সেন্টেন্সের মাঝখানে থাকবে, এই সেন্টেন্সটা হচ্ছে সিম্পল সেন্টেন্স। এই সিম্পল সেন্টেন্সটাকে কমপ্লেক্স করলে আমাদের শুরুতে ইফ ইউ ডোন্ট ব্যবহার করতে হবে। এরপর যেই চিহ্নটা আমাকে সাহায্য করেছে সিম্পল সেন্টেন্স চেনার জন্য উইদাউট প্লাস ভার্বের আইএনজি, ওই চিহ্নটা আমরা তুলে দেব। এরপর আমরা তুলে দিলে ইফ ইউ ডোন্টের পরে উইদাউট এবং ভার্বের আইএনজি তুলে দিলে বাদ বাকি অংশ রিড মোর কমা সহ বাকি অংশটা বসাইতে হবে। ইউ ক্যান পাস ইন দ্য এক্সাম। এবারে আসি কিভাবে আমি কম্পাউন্ড করব। এই যে প্রথমে আমি বলেছি প্রত্যেকটা ওয়ার্ডের সিনার উপায় আছে। আমি উইদাউট প্লাস আইএনজি দিয়ে তৈরি সেন্টেন্সটাকে কমপ্লেক্স করেছি ইফ ইউ ডোন্ট দিয়ে। তাহলে ইফ ইউ ডোন্ট হচ্ছে কমপ্লেক্সের চিহ্ন, আর উইদাউট প্লাস ভার্বের আইএনজি হচ্ছে সিম্পলের চিহ্ন। এখন এই দুইটা সেন্টেন্সকে আমি যদি কম্পাউন্ড করতে চাই, এখানে উইদাউট প্লাস ভার্বের আইএনজি তুলে দিলে রিড, আর কমপ্লেক্সকে যদি আমি কম্পাউন্ড করতে চাই ইফ ইউ ডোন্টটা তুলে দিলে রিড। এরপরে বাকি অংশটুকু আমি বসাইলাম। এরপর দ্বিতীয় ক্লজের শুরুতে আমি অর বসাইলাম, এরপর দ্বিতীয় ক্লজটা দিলাম। অর্থাৎ কম্পাউন্ড হচ্ছে রিড মোর অর ইউ ক্যান পাস ইন দ্য এক্সাম বা এক্সেট্রা এক্সেট্রা যেই ধরনের হতে পারে। তো এখন আমরা জানলাম একটা সেন্টেন্স পরিবর্তন করার জন্য ফর চেঞ্জিং এভরি সেন্টেন্সেস স্পেশালি ইন সিম্পল কমপ্লেক্স অ্যান্ড কম্পাউন্ড you will have to first identify those symbolic word which will help you to identify simple, complex and compound. For changing complex and compound, then you will have to use the symbolic word for complex and compound, etc. So I think if you follow these rules, you can change the simple, complex and compound sentence easily, and in your real life situations this method, especially my method, will help you to do better. Thank you everybody. Thanks. Goodbye.